They say your body has a hidden reset button, one that can clear out old cells, sharpen your mind, and restart your metabolism in just arter-ceaf hours. Sounds unbelievable, right? But some researchers suggest that a single day of fasting combined with olive oil could activate deep cellular repair, boost autophagy, and even halt insulin resistance in its tracks. Autophagy is the body's built-in cleaning and repair system. It's how your cells break down damaged components and rebuild them stronger. Think of it as your body's quiet, internal detox, constantly working to keep you younger, sharper, and more resilient. For years, scientists believed that this process only activated after several days of fasting. But now, new research hints that adding one simple ingredient, extra virgin olive oil, may accelerate autophagy and make it happen in less than a day. Here's where things get interesting. Olive oil isn't just a source of fat. It's loaded with powerful compounds called polyphenols. These bioactive molecules communicate directly with the genes that control metabolism, inflammation, and cellular recycling. In other words, they help your body burn fat, stabilizes insulin, and renew itself all at once. In this video, we'll dive into whether this so-called olive oil-like fast is truly a metabolic breakthrough or just another internet trend. You'll discover how autophagy really works, what causes insulin resistance, and why olive oil might play a unique role in speeding up cellular repair. We'll look at real studies, not rumors, and uncover how fasting and healthy fats can work together in surprising ways. Stay with me until the end, because we'll also explore the potential downsides and misconceptions around this method. While many influencers praise it as a quick detox, the reality is more nuanced. You'll learn when this strategy can be beneficial, who should avoid it, and how to fast safely without damaging your metabolism. By the end, you'll understand exactly how your body responds when you combine fasting with healthy fats and whether a single day could truly reset your system. And here's the surprising part. Olive oil may do more than boost autophagy. It could also protect your cells from oxidative stress, enhance gut health, and even support brain function. This makes it far more than a simple kitchen ingredient. It may be one of nature's most underrated metabolic tools. Welcome to our channel where we uncover the real science behind viral health trends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into how your body truly works. Autophagy is one of the body's most remarkable survival mechanisms, a natural cleanup system working silently inside every cell. Every cell, the word literally means self-eating, but don't be alarmed. It simply describes how your cells recycle old, damaged parts into fresh, healthy components. Think of it as a maintenance crew that never stops working, scanning for broken pieces, clearing out waste, and rebuilding what's needed to keep your body functioning smoothly. Without autophagy, your cells would fill up with junk, your energy would drop, and the aging process would accelerate. When it functions properly, you stay youthful, energetic, and metabolically balanced. But when it slows down, damaged proteins pile up, energy production falters, and disease risk increases. Research has linked poor autophagy to faster aging, memory decline, and insulin resistance, the condition where cells stop responding properly to insulin, causing blood sugar to rise. In short, strong autophagy doesn't just help you live longer, it helps you live better. Normally, autophagy remains in the background, but it switches on during stress, especially when you go without food. During fasting, insulin levels drop and cellular sensors detect a shortage of nutrients. To survive, your body begins recycling what it already has. Old proteins, damaged mitochondria, and waste material are broken down and reused as energy. This process not only conserves fuel, but also clears cellular clutter, paving the way for new, stronger cells. Fasting isn't the only way to activate this system. Exercise, temperature changes, certain types of stress, and even plant-based compounds can spark autophagy. Sometimes just a brief drop in insulin or reduced calorie intake is enough for your body to say, time to clean house. And when that happens, you feel it clearer thinking, better digestion, and steadier energy. The link between autophagy and insulin is crucial. When cellular cleanup slows down, waste builds up and cells stop responding properly to insulin. So, The pancreas compensates by producing more insulin, which eventually leads to resistance. So by supporting autophagy through fasting and possibly enhancing it with olive oil, you may be giving your body the reset it's been waiting for. When autophagy runs smoothly, your cells stay sensitive, insulin levels stabilize naturally, and overall, metabolic health improves. That's why fasting has become such a major focus in modern science. It taps directly into this built-in repair cycle. Autophagy sits at the heart of longevity, energy balance, and disease prevention, quietly keeping your system clean, efficient, and youthful from the inside out. Insulin resistance begins silently long before most people notice anything is wrong. It happens when your cells stop responding properly to insulin, the hormone that helps move glucose from your blood into your cells for energy. When that sensitivity weakens, sugar starts to build up in the bloodstream instead of being used as fuel. The pancreas reacts by pumping out more insulin, but over time, this only makes things worse. The body becomes trapped in a loop of high insulin and high diet blood sugar, a cycle that can quietly damage almost every system. The effects reach far beyond simple weight gain. Chronically elevated insulin keeps your body locked in fat storing mode, making weight loss incredibly difficult. Even with strict dieting, it leads to fatigue, carb cravings, and inflammation throughout the body. Over time, insulin resistance can progress into prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, or full-blown type R diabetes. It can also disrupt hormones, liver function, and even brain health. Some experts call this state metabolic chaos because it throws off energy production, hunger control, and fat-burning efficiency all at once. First, what many people don't realize is that insulin resistance isn't caused by diet and diet inactivity alone. It's also deeply connected to how well your cells clean themselves. This is where autophagy plays a crucial role. When the cell's cleanup system slows down, damaged proteins and defective mitochondria begin to accumulate. These faulty parts disrupt how insulin signals are transmitted inside the cell, like static on a radio line. The message from insulin becomes distorted, forcing the pancreas to produce even more. Strong autophagy helps break this cycle. By removing damaged components and renewing your cell's energy systems, it restores insulin sensitivity and keeps metabolism running smoothly. But when autophagy is suppressed, often due to overeating, constant snacking, stress, or sleep deprivation, insulin resistance grows silently. The body becomes less efficient at managing glucose, which then turns into stored fat. Chronic inflammation only makes this worse, as it further blocks autophagy and raises insulin levels. The relationship between insulin resistance and autophagy is a two-way street. Poor autophagy promotes insulin resistance, and insulin resistance in turn suppresses autophagy. Breaking this feedback loop often requires giving your body a break from constant feeding, allowing those internal repair systems to activate. When the cellular cleanup crew comes back online, insulin sensitivity naturally improves and the body begins to regain balance. Olive oil plays a fascinating role in this process. It's far more than just a cooking ingredient. It's a complex blend of natural compounds that protect and heal the body at a cellular level. Its main component, oleic acid, is a stable monounsaturated fat that resists oxidation, reduces inflammation, and supports both heart and metabolic health. Unlike the unstable fats found in processed oils, olive oil's fats integrate smoothly into your cell membranes, improving their structure and helping cells communicate more efficiently. This enhanced cellular communication helps insulin work better and keeps energy levels steady. Beyond its healthy fats, olive oil is packed with phenolic compounds, powerful plant chemicals unique to extra virgin varieties. These include hydroxytyrosol, oleuropein, and tyrosol, which act like microscopic shields, protecting cells from oxidative stress and calming chronic inflammation that can lead to metabolic dysfunction. Research shows these compounds can directly influence enzymes and signaling pathways that regulate how your body burns fat, processes sugar, and repairs tissue. The purer and less processed the oil, the higher its concentration of these bioactive molecules, which is why cold minus pressed extra virgin olive oil consistently shows the best results in studies. Antioxidants in olive oil, such as vitamin E and polyphenols, play another critical role. Every day, your body generates free radicals, unstable molecules that can damage cells if left unchecked. Olive oil's antioxidants neutralize these radicals before they cause harm, especially in key organs like the pancreas and liver, which regulate insulin and glucose. By protecting these organs from liver oil helps them stay sensitive to insulin and prevents the chain reaction that leads to metabolic imbalance. Both animal and human studies confirm these benefits. Regular olive oil intake improves insulin sensitivity, lowers fasting glucose, reduces liver fat, and decreases inflammation markers. In human trials, people who made olive oil their main fat source showed better blood sugar control and healthier cholesterol profiles compared to those consuming refined vegetable oils. Even small dietary shifts, such as replacing a portion of saturated fat with olive oil, can lead to measurable metabolic improvements within weeks. But perhaps the most fascinating effect of olive oil lies in how it communicates with your genes. The polyphenols and fatty acids it contains can switch certain genes on or off, especially those controlling inflammation, fat metabolism, and, in simple terms, olive oil talks to your DNA, encouraging your body to produce protective proteins while silencing those that promote disease. This ability to fine-tune genetic activity makes olive oil a powerful tool for maintaining long-term metabolic balance and cellular health. The concept of olive oil fasting combines traditional fasting with the strategic use, night, of small amounts of extra virgin olive oil during the fasting period. In practice, this means consuming water and 1 or 2 tablespoons of pure olive oil spread throughout the day instead of eating solid food. The goal isn't to break the fast, but to support the body's repair systems, giving it the energy and protection it needs to clean, heal, and reset from within. The goal of olive oil fasting is to give your digestive system a rest while still supplying the body with essential fats that don't significantly raise insulin levels. For many, it feels easier than a complete water fast because the healthy fats in olive oil help reduce hunger, stabilize energy, and prevent the lightheadedness that can come from not eating at all. People who follow this approach believe that combining olive oil with fasting enhances autophagy, the body's cellular cleanup system, while protecting against the stress that fasting can sometimes cause. The logic behind this method lies in synergy. Fasting naturally lowers insulin and activates autophagy by putting cells under mild nutrient stress. Olive oil, on the other hand, delivers compounds like polyphenols and oleic acid that reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. Together, these effects may help the body maintain energy balance and support deeper cellular renewal without triggering an insulin spike. Some researchers even suggest that olive oil acts as a signal amplifier, helping key pathways like AMPK and mTOR, which regulate metabolism and autophagy, operate more efficiently. This approach appeals to many because it offers a middle ground, fasting without complete deprivation. People who find strict fasting difficult often prefer olive oil fasting, as the fats provide a gentle sense of fullness while keeping insulin low enough to preserve the metabolic benefits. Advocates also point to studies showing that olive oil polyphenols can mimic certain fasting effects by influencing genes related to longevity, oxidative defense, and fat metabolism. Because these overlapping pathways. Some enthusiasts claim that fasting with olive oil can double autophagy and quickly boost insulin sensitivity, even within R/C hours. However, these claims remain largely theoretical. So far, there are no large human trials proving that olive oil fasting can double autophagy or reverse insulin resistance in a single day. Most evidence comes from small-scale studies, animal research, and indirect observations of fasting and olive oil when studied separately. While both are known to support cellular health individually, the idea that their effects multiply when combined is still being explored. Scientists caution that results seen in lab or animal models don't always translate directly to humans. The concept is intriguing, but it needs more clinical evidence before it can be called proven science. What we do know is that fasting itself is one of the most reliable ways to trigger autophagy. When food intake stops and nutrient levels fall, insulin drops and the body's energy sensors detect mild stress. This shift sends a powerful signal: conserve resources, recycle damaged components, and start cleaning house. Old proteins, worn out mitochondria, and cellular debris are broken down and reused as energy. This internal cleanup not only improves metabolic efficiency, but also helps the body become more sensitive to insulin and better at maintaining energy balance. Olive oil appears to enhance this process in several ways. Its natural antioxidants and polyphenols protect cells while autophagy is underway. Compounds like hydroxytyrosol and oleuropein activate many of the same longevity pathways that fasting triggers. They reduce oxidative stress, prevent damaged molecules from accumulating, and help mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells, work more efficiently. This creates a cleaner, calmer environment that allows autophagy to run smoothly without being disrupted by inflammation or free radicals. The antioxidants in olive oil also strengthen cell membranes, reducing inflammation that can interfere with regeneration. On a deeper level, olive oil improves how cells respond to insulin. Research shows that its monounsaturated fats and polyphenols enhance insulin receptor signaling, making it easier for cells to absorb glucose and maintain balanced blood sugar. This prevents the chronic high insulin state that suppresses autophagy. Olive oil also supports the pancreas by protecting the beta cells responsible for insulin production, keeping them functional longer. By lowering inflammation throughout the body, olive oil helps restore the sensitivity of insulin pathways, something crucial for maintaining metabolic health. Together, fasting and olive oil create a powerful partnership. Fasting lowers insulin and glucose levels, opening the door for autophagy to begin, while olive oil supports and protects the process from oxidative damage. That said, moderation is essential. Olive oil still contains calories, and too much can interrupt the fasting state. Small measured doses, usually a teaspoon or two during the fast, can complement the process, but larger amounts may trigger digestion and shut down autophagy prematurely. Finding the right balance determines whether olive oil becomes an ally or a distraction in your fasting journey. Animal and cell studies paint a promising picture. In rodents, olive oil improves insulin signaling in the liver and muscles, lowers fasting glucose, and enhances glucose tolerance compared to diets high in saturated fats. In lab studies, olive oil polyphenols reduce inflammation markers and protect mitochondria from damage, improving cellular energy efficiency. Many experiments also show less fat buildup in the liver and stronger activation of genes involved in fat burning and antioxidant defense. Human studies provide supportive but mixed results. Short-term trials show modest reductions in fasting glucose, lower insulin levels, and better cholesterol when participants replace processed fats with extra virgin olive oil. Some also report improved blood sugar control after meals and lower inflammation markers. Larger trials, such as those studying the Mediterranean diet, link olive oil-rich eating patterns to lower rates of metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. However, the effects vary depending on oil quality, dosage, and the individual's health status. So, the limitations are clear. Most of the strongest results appear over weeks or months, not in a single day. Animal models sometimes show inconsistent outcomes with excessive intake, and responses can differ widely among individuals due to genetics, gut microbiome, and baseline metabolic health. Still, the idea of combining fasting with olive oil remains one of the most fascinating areas in metabolic science, a potential bridge between nourishment and repair, between ancient fasting traditions and modern cellular research. A typical olive oil fast day is built on two key ideas: simplicity and control. Just like a regular fast, it begins with water, rest, and giving your digestive system a break. The only difference is the careful addition of small doses of extra virgin olive oil throughout the day. Some people take a teaspoon every few hours, while others prefer 1 to 2 tablespoons spread between morning, midday, and late afternoon. The goal isn't to feed the body, it's to provide just not enough healthy fat to keep hunger stable without disrupting insulin levels. This small amount of oil can make fasting easier, especially for beginners who struggle with complete food abstinence. Timing matters too. Many choose to delay their first spoon of olive oil until a few hours into the fast, allowing insulin levels to drop first. When taking olive oil, go slow. You can even mix it with warm water or a few drops of lemon juice to make it easier to consume. And remember, hydration is key. Drink plenty of plain or mineral water or unsweetened electrolytes to stay balanced and prevent fatigue. On average, the total olive oil intake stays between 2 to 4 tablespoons a day, depending on body size and fasting experience. But moderation is crucial. Too much oil can undo the fasting benefits. Now, this method isn't for everyone. People with diabetes, low blood pressure, gallbladder issues, or digestive problems should avoid it unless under medical supervision. Pregnant or breastfeeding women or anyone taking medications that affect blood sugar should also consult a doctor first. Fasting changes how your body handles nutrients and medicine, and olive oil can alter how certain drugs are absorbed. That's why caution and awareness are essential. For those healthy and experienced in fasting, a few simple rules make the process safer. Use high quality, cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, not refined varieties. Keep doses small and avoid mixing with food, sweeteners, or caffeine heavy drinks. Dehydrate, stay hydrated, maintain electrolytes, and avoid heavy exercise while fasting. Despite growing interest, olive oil fasting remains experimental. There's no clinical proof that it boosts autophagy or resets insulin resistance in a single day. The idea comes from logical reasoning and early research, not yet from confirmed human studies. Still, it's fascinating. Both fasting and olive oil independently show strong benefits for metabolism, inflammation, and cellular repair. So the theory that combining them might enhance these effects makes sense, at least biologically. But for now, the science points to potential, not proof. Every body is different. Genetics, diet, stress, and sleep all affect how fasting works. That's why it's wise to treat this as a personal experiment, not a guaranteed fix. If you're curious, start small, track your progress, note changes in fasting glucose, energy, focus, and sleep. Listen to your body. It always gives feedback. In the end, olive oil fasting sits at an intriguing crossroads. Part science, part theory, and part curiosity. The claim that it can double autophagy or reverse insulin resistance in one day is bold. But unproven. What we do know is that both fasting and olive oil on their own support the body's natural repair systems. Whether they work better together, that's still a question science needs to answer. Until then, explore, but with awareness. Respect your body's limits, stay observant, and keep your curiosity alive. Have you ever tried fasting with olive oil? Would you consider experimenting under safe conditions? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else on their journey. If you found this breakdown helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more evidence-based deep dives into fasting, nutrition, and natural metabolism hack. Stay curious, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next episode.